Hi BookTube, it's Amy, and I'm back again reading from the Anatomy of Bibliomania by Holbrook Jackson. Today we are on page 144. In 3 admirable chapters of Rabelais, the illustrious Pantagruel exognates the whole business of the sorts bearing upon the prophetic virtues of both Homer and Virgil in the matter of Panurge's desire for marriage. These cognigations and those of the precedent chapter are an epitome of the frailty and bewilderment of human reason, for with the best will to deny the sorts, those who are experienced of the world and honest withal cannot but see that there are arguments pro and contra in every case, whether taken a posteriori or a priori. This is seen to no better advantage than in the famous joist, where Panurge, after fetching after the bottom of his heart a very deep sigh, took counsel of his lord and master Pantagruel whether he should marry, yea or nay. In the great discourse which succeeds, marriage, its joys and sorrows, trials and tribulations, tricks, dangers, sorties, caprices, as well as its conveniences, pleasantries, and comforts, are so laid bare by disquisition and ratiocination, that although Pantagruel advises him to it, and concludes his final tilt after swaying his way and that way after every encounter with, "Marry then, in the name of God," Panurge is still bewildered. "Your counsel," quoth he, "under your correction and favour, seemeth unto me not unlike the song of gamer, yea by nay, full of sarcasms, mockeries, bitter taunts, nipping bobs, derisive quips, biting jerks, and contrary iterations, and one part destroying the other." But divining that he had resolved to make a trial of the state of marriage, Pantagruel told him that there was nothing new for Panurge to do but bow his head, kiss the ground, put the business to a venture, and give it a fair hazard, recommending the success of the residue to the disposure of Almighty God. It was not in his power to give any other assurance, or otherwise to certify what should ensue on the undertaking. "Nevertheless, if it pleases you," Pantagruel advises, "this you may do. Bring hither Virgil's poems, that, after having opened the book, and with our fingers severed the leaves thereof several times, we may, according to the number agreed upon between ourselves, explore the future hap of your intended marriage. For frequently, by a Homeric lottery, many have hit upon their destinies." How they would cast their Virgilian lots caused farther argument. Panurge was for abandoning the book and finding a more expedient adjustment of destiny by the chance of 3 fair dice throws. Pantagruel would have none of that, for that sort of lottery is deceitful, abusive, illicitous, and exceedingly scandalous. Furthermore, it had been forbidden by his father Gargantua over all his kingdoms and dominions. He argued that the fortunate cast of Tiberius within the fountain of Epona, at the oracle of Geryon, had one of those baited hooks by which the devil attracts and draweth unto him the foolish souls of silly people into eternal perdition. But to satisfy Panurge's humour in some measure, he will compromise by throwing 3 dice upon the table, the number of spots cast up marking the verse of that page, which, in the setting open of the book, he shall have hit upon. They proceeded according to this decision. Panurge was attacked by nervous fears when the works of Virgil were brought. His heart beat with violence, and his pulse so quickened that he asked Pantagruel if he would not hold it expedient, before they proceeded farther, to invoke Hercules and the Tenetian goddesses, who are said to rule over lots. "Neither him nor them," answered Pantagruel, "only open the leaves of the book with your fingers, and set your nails to work." He did so. The dice cast up 16, and at the 16th line of the disclosed page, Panurge encountered the following verse: "Nec deus hunc mensa, dia nec dignata cubili est." The god him from this table banished, nor would the goddess have him in her bed, quoting from Eclogues. "This response," quoth Pantagruel, "maketh not very much for your benefit or advantage, for it plainly signifies and denoteth that your wife shall be a strumpet, and yourself by consequent a cuckold." And he continues in the following deductions: that the goddess whom Panurge shall not find propitious nor favorable unto him is Minerva, a most redoubtable and dreadful virgin, a powerful and fulminating goddess, an enemy to cuckolds and effeminate youngsters, to cuckold makers and adulterers, and much more lusty stuff of the kind, until he bids him try his fortune for the second time, when he falls upon this verse. Membra quatit, geldusc quot formidin sanguis. His joints and members quake, he becomes pale, and sudden fear doth his cold blood congeal. Quoting there from the Aeneid. This importeth, quoth Pantagruel, that she will soundly bang your back and belly. Clean and quite contrary, answered Panurge. It is of me that he prognosticates in saying that I will beat her like a tiger if she vex me. Sir Martin Wagstaff will perform that office, and in default of a cudgel, the devil gulp him if I should not eat her up quick, as Candles, the Lydian king, did his wife, whom he ravened and devoured. Thereafter did he hit at the third opening of the book upon this verse. Femino prede et spoliorium ardebat amor. After the spoil and pillage, as in fire, he burnt with a strong feminine desire. And we don't have anything of note in that footnote there, just to note that we are quoting from the Aeneid again. This portenteth, quoth Pantagruel, that she will steal your goods and rob you. Hence this, according to these three drawn lots, will be your future destiny. I clearly see it. You will be cuckolded, you will be beaten, and you will be robbed. But since they were nowise in agreement, and as a last refuge in the hope of a surer remedy, Pantagruel claimed that they should abandon their expounding of the Virgilian lots, bend their course another way, and try a new sort of divination. Of what kind? Asked Panurge. Of a good and authentic fashion, answered Pantagruel. It is by dreams, the efficacy of which is clearly described by Hippocrates, Plato, Plotinus, Iamblichus, Cineas, Aristotle, Xenophon, Galen, Plutarch, Artemidorus, Veldanius, Herophilius, Q. Caliber, Theocritus, Pliny, Athenaeus, and others. But De Hisatis read him in Book 3 of Rabelais, where he treats of the heroic deeds and sayings of the good Pantagruel, a most delectable excursion. And that is the end of that section there. A story about the use of books for divination, which builds on our previous reading. And the next one here is of the sortes, or the sorts in ancient and modern times. So digging more into some of these historical works here. The next section is quite long. I think it might be the longest we've come across so far. But that will bring us to the end of that section. And we will move on to the next part of the book here, which is called Of the Bibliography, or Book Eaters. Or rather, bibliophagy, or book eaters, I think is how that word is pronounced. Bibliophagy, that's a new word that I'm coming across here, or book eaters, a diet of books considered. But we'll end it there for today.